Hi. I'm back. I know I've been gone for a while and I'm sorry about that. I ended up taking some time off for the holidays and I wasn't planning on taking time off, but I think it happens sometimes, right? Oh boy, this has been a little bit of a crazy couple of months for me. I think I've mentioned before that we are moving, but not only are we moving, we're moving right after the new year. So it's a really weird time to be trying to figure out where we're moving to and get everything packed and come up with the money to move at the most expensive time of the year. It's been a little bit much. I don't recommend it. Part of why I was gone for so long is we had our Thanksgiving here alone together. Then my brother was in town for a day, and then we had our 10-year wedding anniversary, which we went and stayed in a hotel and had a real snazzy, bougie kind of date. And we had a really great time, but now we're having to get back to life and like go to work again. And now I'm packing more again and that kind of stuff. And it's just exhausting. So we've even decided we're not going to do a tree this year because where we normally put the tree is where we're putting all of our boxes. And we like real trees, and we're being told they're well over $100 this year because there's a tree shortage from the fires that were out here in California. That's usually where the trees get shipped in for Nevada is usually California and Oregon and sometimes Utah, but yeah, so the fires, I guess, really hurt that. But anyway, I did on my main channel do a vlog where I cook some peach bread pudding and I give the recipe and everything. And then I show us on our anniversary this fun, extravagant night that we had. So if you're interested in watching it, I'm not saying you have to or that I expect you to, but if you want to see it, if you want to see what I was up to, I will put a tag to that video up in one of these corners. This video is going to be a little bit different than what I normally do. I'm doing my November wrap up and I'm going to talk to you about what I'll be reading in December all in one video because I am so late to the game. I do have a video for the first half of the month, the mid-month wrap up, where I talk about the books that I read. I will also put a tag to that video up above, and I'll put links to the videos also down in the description box. But if you want to hear what I read in the first half of the month, you're welcome to go check out that video. The second half of the month was a little bit odd for me with all that I just mentioned. I had a really hard time reading much at all, but I will talk to you about what I did read. I'm sorry, I took the jacket off of here. I started reading The Family by Naomi Krupitsky, and I'll put a picture of it up here since I don't have the jacket on here. But I got 106 pages into it and I put it down and I haven't picked it back up. What I want to know is, have you read this book? And do you think that I should finish it? Is it worth reading the rest of it? I was very bored with it for some reason. I thought it'd be amazing and I just wasn't feeling what I thought I might feel with this book. I don't know if I'm connecting with the author and her writing style. I just really struggled with it. And then when I put it down and started reading something else, I had no interest in picking it back up. But if you have read it and you think it's worth finishing, let me know. And then I'll consider picking it back up. But in the meantime, it might end up being a DNF for me. This was the perfect book to read as I was getting ready for Thanksgiving. I read The Art of Dancing in the Rain by Garth Stein. This book was so good, you guys. I give this 5 stars. I thought it was just amazing. I thought it was about a dog who was about to pass away and his owner takes him out racing in cars regularly before he passes away. And it ended up not being that. It's about a dog whose owner is a race car driver. And so he does talk about racing quite a bit in the book, but in a fun way. I'm not typically interested in racing, but it was brought about, just kind of sprinkled in there here and there, and not overdone to where I still found it very enjoyable. But it was from the dog's perspective. Now, this dog, he gets to watch TV during the day while his owners are at work, and he's got favorite shows, and he's very well-rounded and cultured for a dog. I would even say I've met people that aren't as well-rounded as the dog is. But it was really kind of fun thinking about a dog or even a cat, what their perspective on life might be. And I did find it very endearing and heart-wrenching. And of course, there's a bunch of details that the dog doesn't have. If things didn't happen while he was with his owners, he wouldn't know about them. So I thought that was really fascinating. But there's also things that happen in the book that only the dog knew about, because he was the only one that witnessed them. So it was really good. It was very endearing. I did cry. I also really enjoyed that it took place in the Seattle area, which is where I grew up. It was kind of neat to feel like I was back at home again, but back in the 90s. It feels like it took place in the 90s, early 2000s. There's been a lot of changes there since I moved away 15 years ago. I don't really know that it feels like the same place when I go back. It's just so overcrowded, and there's traffic everywhere, and like inflation has happened, and the houses cost a lot and that kind of thing. It's just a little different there now. But yes, I did enjoy going back to home in the book. And it was fun, some of his references. One of the things he mentioned was Chip Hanauer, which, be still my beating heart, I had the biggest crush on Chip Hanauer when I was a little girl. We used to go to the hydroplane races, and Chip Hanauer was, at the time, he was the driver for the Circus, and I just had a big crush on him, and I did get to meet him, and he signed my little Circus hat and all that kind of stuff. But it kind of brought back these fun little kid memories, you know. But I liked that he mentioned Chip Hanauer, which I think a lot of people don't even know who Chip Hanauer is, right? I definitely recommend this book for anybody that loves animals, loves pets, loves the connection that we have with our pets. It's definitely worth a read. And also, I happened to listen to this book on audio more than I physically read it. And that was the one thing I didn't like about it, was in the audio, they kept putting music in the background of the book while the narrator was talking. And I don't know if it's just me. I think there's something kind of with my brain. If somebody's talking and there's music in the background, I hear the music and not the person talking. So I really struggle with that sometimes. And I did have a bit of a hard time with that in a couple parts in the book when they would have the music on, to the point where I would skip over it and just read the physical book. So that would be my one critique, but that has nothing to do with the book. It had to do with the narration of it. And then the last book that I read over our, I started reading it the day before our anniversary, so it was kind of fun to read this then. It was Buried in a Bog by Sheila Connolly. And this book is about a woman named Mora. Sorry, I forgot her name. I always forget people's names or the protagonist's names right after I finish a book, like immediately. She lives in Boston, and her grandmother passes away. And her grandmother, as one of her wishes, wants her to go to Ireland to meet her family. They're Irish, and she even has plane tickets waiting for her and that kind of thing. So she has really nothing left in Boston. Her whole life kind of was her grandmother. She doesn't have parents. That her mother left when she was a baby, and her dad died when she was a baby. So all she had was grandma. So she goes to Ireland, and she starts working in this pub, and there's a mystery that happens. She gets offered a job in a pub there, so that she can stay and get to know the area and get to know the people if she wants to. And she decides to stay for a little bit. And she really seems to fall in love with this little town in Ireland. And I just kind of, I found it very endearing. I really enjoyed what I learned about Ireland in the book. And not that it like matters, but when I've done my DNA testing at Ancestry, I am more Irish than anything, and it kind of helped me feel a little bit more connected to the Irish part of my heritage, which was kind of fun. And yeah, I thought it was really fun. Now, the one thing I didn't like about the book, though, was the mystery part. I thought it was kind of lame, and I didn't really care for who did it and that kind of thing. So, because of that, I gave it 4 stars. But I really loved everything else about the book. I loved the characters, and the main character was Ireland and the town that she was in, and I really loved that part of it. Just not the mystery part. But it's the first book in the A County Cork mystery series, and I am planning on reading the next one sometime soon. If you've read any of those books, let me know, or if you want to read any of them, let me know. And now I'm going to talk to you about what I'm going to be reading in December. One thing that I try to do every year in December is read a children's book. It just kind of, I don't know, it brings me back to a more vivid version of myself. Because I have to tell you something. You know those women that watch all the Hallmark Christmas movies and listen to nothing but Christmas songs on the radio or on a playlist, and even watch Lifetime original Christmas movies, and, you know, have different towels they use in the bathroom that have Christmas trees on them and that kind of stuff. You know those women? That's me. I love thrillers and mysteries and horror novels, and then in December I become this Martha Stewart-esque person. I don't know what it is. It's just who I am. But I do like to start out December with a children's book. And one of my favorite books is actually one that I discovered when I used to have a page where I would read books to children to try to teach them how to read. And I never ended up reading this for that channel, but I bought it for the channel. It's called A Snowy Nap by Jan Brett. And I love this book. I love look at how pretty the imagery is in this book. But it's about a hedgehog who always hears about what a great time everyone has in the winter while he's hibernating. And he decides that this year he's going to try to hibernate a little bit later in the season if he can, and try to get as into winter as he can. And it's just a really sweet, heartwarming book. So obviously I'll read this in one day. I have a lot of shorter books for December, which might make it a little easier to get everything read. I also want to read A Christmas Box, which was one of my books on my TBR for November. I just didn't get to it. I ended up being a lot busier in November than I thought I would be. I found this readathon that I wanted to join. There's a lady that I really love watching. Her name is, which one is she? Uh-oh. Oh, wow. Okay, I can't remember her page name, and I really love her. And her and 2 other ladies are doing a Merry and Bright readathon. And I have the 2 other ladies' names on here, but not her name. So I'll put her name up here. But I really like her channel, and if you love cozy mysteries, check her channel out because you will love it too, I think. It's between December 9th and the 15th. And there's different reading prompts and different photo prompts that you can do on Instagram. I will link this video up here, and I will also put the link down in the description box. But if you're interested, be sure to check it out. There's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 6 different prompts, and I'm going to do 5 of them, or I'm going to try to do 5 of them, but these are much shorter books, so I don't think it'll be hard to read all of these books in this time. The first prompt is Winter Wonderland, a book with white on the cover, and the book that I chose was A Christmas Journey. There's just a little bit of white there, but by Anne Perry. A Christmas Journey is that rarest of seasonal thrillers, one that exemplifies the message and spirit of the holiday. This brief work has an almost Jamesian subtlety, and with its powerful message of responsibility and redemption, we need both to forgive and be forgiven. It conveys a moral force in keeping with the season. And then the next little comment is a doozy of a Christmas mystery. So I just thought this would be really fun for that day. And this book is only 178 pages long, so I should be able to read that in one day. The next prompt is Hot Cocoa, a book that gives you cozy vibes. Gingerdead Man by Maya Corrigan. And I did end up buying this one. These other books are all books I've already had, but I did buy this one. It turns out I still had some Christmas money from last year on one of my gift cards, so I went ahead and bought this with that, okay, so that I could put it in the readathon. When Santa is slayed by a poisoned gingerbread cookie at a holiday party, Val Deniston's reputation is on the line. Granddad is a hoot, and his jobs as a food reviewer and part-time detective provide endless possibilities for fun and murder. So it just sounds like a fun, cozy mystery holiday read. And this is a five ingredient mystery series book. I can't talk today, and I'm so sorry. I think I need more coffee, but instead I have tea over here, so that might not help me. It is really good, though. I did bring this in case you want to know what I'm drinking. It's organic peppermint tea. But it's really good. I just feel like other brands taste kind of chemically if I don't get the organic peppermint. The next one I have is Elf on His Shelf, a book you already own. This is a book that I had found at the Dollar Tree a few months ago. P.L. Travers, which is the lady that wrote Mary Poppins, she wrote this book, which is 3 short stories where she gave Christmas gifts to friends, and that's all I know about the book, is that it's just 3 short stories. It's also not a very long book. It's 114 pages long, so I thought this might be really fun, and if I enjoy the writing style that she has in this book, then maybe I'll read Mary Poppins as well. Last Christmas, a book you bought last year. Okay, I found this book last year at a thrift shop. It's called A Redbird Christmas by Fannie Flagg. Flagg keeps it simple, she keeps it bright, she keeps it moving right along, and most of all, she keeps it beloved. Another blurb on here is satisfying. Flagg's faith in the healing power of small towns and family is refreshing. Oh, that sounds really sweet, right? And this one is, it's got a bunch of recipes in the back. Yay, I love that. 206 pages long. I chose not to do this next prompt, which is The Grinch, a book with enemies to lover or an unreliable narrator. I decided not to do that one because I don't really typically enjoy enemies to lover stories. I'm not saying it's not possible. I really did like, what book is this? The Unhoneymooners by Christina Lauren, but they weren't really enemies, right? So I'm not saying I wouldn't read another one, but I don't have any, and I'm trying to not buy books right now. And then the last one is Baby It's Cold Outside, a book with dual perspectives. And I don't know for sure if this one has dual perspectives or not. I think it does. But sometimes it's hard to tell until you've actually read a book, whether it's got dual perspectives or not. But this one is 360 pages, so I'm just going to read this book the last 2 days of the challenge. And it's Wishes for Christmas by Fern Michaels. This Christmas, instead of finding and punishing bad guys, all Maggie Spritzer wants to bring is a little more joy to the world. especially to a beloved teacher from her past. And as the sisterhood unites to find her, they learn that no holiday treat is as fulfilling as giving to others. Meanwhile, with a little help from the other godmothers, Toots Londonderry is preparing for Charleston's annual holiday showcase of historic homes. But when the godmothers sense trouble with one of the decorators, they must tackle a mystery and hope for a happy ending. When sisters and godmothers unite, the result is a warm and wonderful holiday with a special touch of magic. Like I said, I will have the links for the 3 women who are putting this holiday reading readathon. I need coffee so bad. I will put those down in the description box. Okay, and then I have a couple other books that I plan on reading this month, if I can get to all of them, which I think I should be able to. They're pretty short. There's not really a lot of long books in here. I've got Silent Night, Deadly Night by Vicki Delany. And in this book, it's Thanksgiving time, and the protagonist, Mary, who owns a Christmas decor shop, her mother has a bunch of her friends from college come out to celebrate Thanksgiving with her family, and apparently they don't get along very well, and there's a lot of bickering that happens, and then one of the friends gets poisoned. And her dad has always been Santa in this town, and he ends up getting accused of being the poisoner. And that's all that I know, but it sounds pretty intriguing. Then I've got The 24 Days Before Christmas by Madeleine L'Engle. Now, if you've been watching my channel for a while, or shoot, it might have been before I had a book channel on my main channel when I was doing book videos. I don't know, but I have talked in the past about how much I loved A Ring of Endless Light, which is a YA book that Madeleine L'Engle wrote. And the main character in that book is a girl named Vicki, who's a teenager. And in this book, Vicky's a little girl, and her siblings are wanting another sibling for Christmas. And I guess we're going to find out in the book whether or not they end up getting that sibling. But it's just a short little holiday story. It is 68 pages long, and I think it looks really cute. But I should be able to read this very, very quickly, obviously. Then I have Christmas Night by Karen Rafferty. I got this book when I was 14. It was published in 1991. Was I 14? Yeah, I guess I was. Yes. I was 14. Okay. In 1991. And I've read it pretty much every December since. I didn't read it last year, and it was kind of weird to not read it that year. So I want to read it this year. It's about a woman named Christmas Night who was born on Christmas night. She is a professional photographer, and there's a new mall being built in this town that she lives in. She decides to go to the mall and try to be the photographer for the kids getting their picture with Santa that year. And she talks her dad into being Santa, and she puts on this cute little elf costume, and she ends up thinking that the guy that's going to run the mall, like, I don't know if he's a manager or what the title is, but she thinks he's super sexy, and it goes from there. But it's one of those, Harlequin temptation novels from the 90s. So it's actually pretty spicy, but very good. Very heartwarming. I'm really switching gears here. Merry Christmas, Amelia, Bedelia. I found this at a thrift shop, and I thought, oh my gosh, I loved Amelia Bedelia when I was a kid. And I thought it'd just be cute to read it. I don't even know what it's about, but who cares? It'll be fun. This book is 61 pages long, and I'm sure I'll get a few laughs out of it. I'm sure I'll think it's cute and fun and all that. And then the last book that I want to read this month is Christmas at the Cat Cafe by Melissa Daly. Sherry, one of the viewers on this channel, had recommended this to me, so I decided to go ahead and get it. An engaging, pleasant read full of colorful characters with enough mentions of the Cat Cafe's cat's whiskers, cookies, and feline fancies to satisfy any appetite for a gentle, heartwarming story. So that sounds really sweet. And this one is 304 pages long. I will let you know which books I ended up reading. At the end of the month, I will probably do a mid-month check-in. Or maybe not, because we're already getting a ways into the month. Maybe I'll just do it all at the end. Well, if you have an opinion on that, let me know. I don't know. I guess we'll see how many books I'm able to read between now and the 15th. But let me know if you've read any of these or if you're planning on reading any of these. I look forward to chatting with you down in the comments about these books. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful rest of your day or night. Happy reading. Bye.